things like, well, Konami, very high powerful decks or cards like this one. And then on top of that, they reprint them again, and then they reprint them one more time, and then they keep reprinting them. So basically, there supposedly is no um, I guess I would say there's no. The decks basically just Konami just builds high powered, and sometimes they're hard to block or they're hard to do things, or you know, Konami just does things random. Sorry guys, I'm drinking Barney root beer or Bargs. I'm very thirsty. So here's what I think about Konami. Now I know I tried calling Konami a couple of times and talking to them and asking them why they do these things, but obviously Konami is never going to answer me. So the reason why Mad MTG or Magic and Yu-Gi-Oh are totally opposite is because with Yu-Gi-Oh you basically can summon a card. All you have to do is tribute whatever amount of cards that the stars up here require you to tribute. Then you can summon it, and then you can play it, and then you can just attack on your first turn. Unless your opponent sets a specific trap card or magic card that says you can't do it, you are allowed to attack. Now, with MTG or Magic, this isn't a these you have these lands, right? Or gorge. Like for instance, this Timber Gorge. Or you have this what's called the mana. So comparing these to Magic, with Magic you have you have to set your mana down on your first turn. Now, here's what really sucks about Yu-Gi-Oh! Because with Yu-Gi-Oh! You don't have that tap system where you have to tap your manas and then then to be able to summon, which basically means it doesn't suck for Yu-Gi-Oh players because people who love Yu-Gi-Oh are really good at just being able to go okay, bang, directed or attack. But here's what's different about this. Again, you have to set your mana and you have to tap your manas, however many manas you have on field, and then summon it. Now, your monster, once you tap your what's called tapping, once you tap your monster is not able to attack unless it has haste. So, given that being said, once you're done, you untap your manas. Now, with Yu-Gi-Oh, you don't have to do anything like that. So basically, Yu-Gi-Oh, I've read, it can be turn 3 or 5, can be just the same as. Which means there's not a lot of consistency. There's not a lot that you're there's not a lot comparing to Magic and Yu-Gi-Oh. Magic, you have a lot more things you have to do. You have to tap, and then so in order to summon, and I know this is a Yu-Gi-Oh card, and I'm doing it just an example. So in order to play, you have to tap and then summon, and then your monster basically is sick for one turn unless he has haste again. So in Yu-Gi-Oh, you don't have that kind of problem where you don't have to worry about waiting out your turn. With Yu-Gi-Oh, the only other problem that they have is that when you tap or not tap, but when you play Yu-Gi-Oh, you can directly attack any monster you choose. And the only time that you can block it is if you have a spell card or trap card, or the monster has an effect. Now with Magic, again, as I said out here, and I know I'm using a Yu-Gi-Oh card. Now with Magic, in your hand that you start out with if you're going first. So those cards that you receive in your hand are beneficial. Either they're going to benefit you, they're going to be beneficial to helping you block the attack, or you're just going to have to receive the attack, which means basically you have no choice other than to accept the attack. So in Yu-Gi-Oh, there's kind of not very much more than you have to accept it, unless you have a certain card. But there are cards that will block it and stop it. But in Magic, you have more chances to do it. So again, we'll go back to the manas. So everything in Yu-Gi-Oh doesn't cost you unless the card specifically says that you have to pay a life point. You have to pay maybe 1,000 or 100 life points to, use an effect. You don't have to pay anything. So with these manas, you have to use them. That's kind of the payment to use things. So with, for instance, when I want to in Yu-Gi-Oh use a spell card that goes with this card, I just basically summon it down and use it. And it won't cost me anything unless, again, the precise wording on that card says to pay. Now with Magic, the really hard thing that a lot of people don't understand, and this becomes harder for them to get to, because this is why some people don't like doing Magic, because it makes it harder for them, is that you have to pay with your manas. So everything you have to use comes with these. These are what you use for everything, for your attacks, for your being able to block. Using a card that will block the attacks, the pay to summon your monster, to pay for using your sorcerer, your instant card. So basically, when you use your magic, your instants, your sorcery cards, or anything, you have to use your manas. Now with Yu-Gi-Oh, you're not required. So why does Yu-Gi-Oh seem a little bit simpler? Well, because Yu-Gi-Oh, again, you're not paying for it. You're basically just getting away with doing everything for free. And like Magic, you pay by using manas, and you wait out your turn. Feeling towards Magic than Yu-Gi-Oh is, because again, Yu-Gi-Oh bans almost every month. I know Magic does ban as well, but Magic does not ban supposedly as much as um, Yu-Gi-Oh. Yu-Gi-Oh tends to ban more. So why again do people go towards Magic? Because Konami, you ban so much, and then you create powerful cards, and then all you do is you create powerful cards, and you continue to use powerful cards without having costs or having anything, that has to be paid in order to use them. Yeah, we pay what, for a card, or 3 cards for a certain amount of, for that one card to be played. But I mean, and then you ban a bunch of cards, and then you know, Magic doesn't seem to ban a lot of people or a lot of cards. So people say that these cards can be banned. There are cards that are in Magic that are banned. I assure you, they are there. Nami has the amount of bans that you read on Konami probably would baffle your mind. Because your mind would never grasp how many times Konami literally bans cards. They create the card. They say, okay, well, they put the product out there, they let you use the product, and then they bring back another product, ban the first product, then they ban the second product, then they try a third product, the third product gets banned again. So basically, there's a repetition. They repeatedly do this. And it gets annoying because a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh players don't like the fact that, there's no way to, what if you don't have internet and you want to know what cards are banned and you're trying to get ready for a tournament? Well, obviously, it's going to screw you. And then it's kind of the same way with like Magic. People who don't have internet, are not going to know. But most times when you're in a card shop, Yu-Gi-Oh bans are not talked about. Here's why. Because Magic has been bigger in many, many ways. Magic has more ability to do things. It's a lot slower, yes. You have to, again, pay with manas, yes. Again, you have the ability to maybe block a little bit more, to do a lot more things, yes, than Yu-Gi-Oh! Here. But on top of that, Magic, the creators of Magic, do not try to ban it. Konami's got this list of banned, and they still banned. Even with the cards that they make, they will make the cards, then they'll ban them. What the hell, Konami? I mean, seriously, we're on repression here, buddy. I mean, seriously, people, Konami, we're on freaking certain amount of money that we're spending here on your crappy cards, and you're telling us you're banning this shit? We're not paying for it. No. That's what a lot of people are starting to feel. And so, because Magic has, we're gonna make cards. We're gonna have these people play them. We're gonna let them have fun. But we are gonna have some banned cards, yes. But we're also gonna make cards that are fun too. So, for instance, commander decks now have vehicles. So what's next? They're maybe going to create weapons. They're going to create things that are a little bit out there. So Magic seems to have the tendency where they have what's called a building block. They build they let the people be able to build. They create a building block, allowing you to do things. Blocks it. And because Konami has this reputation that they, again, will create good cards, and don't get me wrong, I do like Yu-Gi-Oh! I do appreciate the fact that, Yu-Gi-Oh! Was pretty cool. Back in the freaking 90s, or whenever Yu-Gi-Oh! First started, they were pretty freaking cool when I first got into it in 90s or whatever. Now, that being said, Magic was around too when I was in high school. I didn't play very much of Magic. I didn't get into it, I didn't understand it, but I played more of these. But then, when I came down to the fact of I now did my research, I realized, here's why Konami does not let you build. They will let you build a deck. They have these decks that are set, right? You buy the deck. You pay for the deck. You buy more cards to prep your deck to be better. But what happens? half of the cards you own are illegal or banned, illegally banned in tournaments, and you can't use them. So why would you then want to? Then what can you do? Because you basically have to count on, okay, well, what kind of cards am I going to use? Well, then when you buy those cards again, then those cards could get banned. So with MTG or Magic, you don't have that much problem. You're not going to have much problem with. You're going to get a pack or a deck or a booster deck or whatever you buy from Magic. You're going to have your cards, your basic, whatever you buy out of your Magic cards. When you start with people, they're going to know right away that, okay, this deck is set for, what you're doing. So what you're doing is you're building your deck. And when you're building your deck, you're going to realize the difference. You're going to realize that it's a little bit funner to work with. It's a lot harder in a way because you have to think a lot more about, the process of you're not just building your deck for the winning factor, that you want to go out there, you want to try to be number one, and you want to beat these guys or the bully in your school that's been picking on you about how better at Magic he is than you. And you finally step up to the plate to buy these Magic cards and you build a deck. You get your deck built. None of the cards that as soon as you get them, there's no changes. Not very many changes happen with Magic, only with Yu-Gi-Oh! Yu-Gi-Oh! Has the most change. So it gives the players a lot more freedom to work on what they want to work on. And not worry about, well, okay, these decks are going to be outdated. Another thing Yu-Gi-Oh! Really kind of starts dying and lacking of is dead cards. Cards that are dead. Dead cards like, things that just, like, I can't understand, why people use the word dead cards, but, they're supposedly called dead cards. Cards like, Monster Reborn. I have that in my Blue Eyes deck. I use that deck. So a lot of people say, well, those are dead cards. Those are overdone cards. Those cards need to be tossed. Because those cards, you don't pay life points. You don't pay anything. You just are able to do things for free. So basically, Yu-Gi-Oh! People are complaining that Yu-Gi-Oh! Is kind of not like Magic where you don't pay to do things. You get things out for free. But they do actually have them where you have to pay certain things to do certain things. So, they use cards that are basically randomly put out there, or your deck has been made for. And you get cards like Dark Hole or things like that are just kind of repeatedly able to be used. And there's no cost. There's no way to banish them. There's no way to stop them. There's no way to block them or dodge them unless, there are certain ways to do it, but you don't get much of a chance. You don't get much of a chance to do it. So with Magic, you get more chances to do things. So Konami has failed at allowing their players to do more. Meaning, they are able to build their decks up to, a certain point that they feel comfortable with. But once they get comfortable with it, then Konami screws it by creating newer cards, newer decks like Pendulums, Link, Synchro, Fusion, and then XYZ. So they've now got 5 of them out there. All 5 of these are just so freaking confusing. Then on top of that, you have to have a deck that's basically built for it. So here's the thing about Magic. With Magic, you can build your deck. There's different colors. Blue, red, green, black, and yellow, right? So red and green, blue and yellow, black and white. Your deck is created with those cards, right? With the same manas and stuff, right? So again, because you have these varieties of things to do and use, you have to pay to do things. You have to wait your turn to do things. So another thing I really hear about is the game's slow. It will drag on and on and on and on and it can go on for half a freaking hour. I'm sure that it's going to go on for half a freaking hour. When you're playing Magic, it's not going to be a wham bam, thank you, Mr. Ching Chun, Ching Chow, Ni Hao, Come Pao, Adios, Chow thing. You're not going to get that fast pop out of it. Magic, it takes a little bit of time. It does drag a little bit. But there are times where Magic games have ended very fastly. I've played some pretty nearly quick games that didn't last very long. I was amazed, and I heard Magic dragged on and on. Okay. But the reason why Magic drags on, here's the reason why. Again, you have to do things with these. You don't just, bang, 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 ching, chong, ching, and then you're done. Okay, there you go. I've attacked. Oh, fuck on that, sweetheart. Well, okay. I can't do anything. So with Magic, you are having more of an ability to do things. Your deck is able to grow with you. You're able to grow with your deck. You're able to make your deck grow. With Yu-Gi-Oh, your deck can't grow as much. There's not much growth in Konami's world. Konami has the growth world down to 0. Because Konami, again, builds these perfectly great cards, destroys them, banishes them, and then goes out and does it again, and then banishes. So there's no way to honestly grow with a Yu-Gi-Oh anymore. But with Magic, you have more growth, ability to switch your deck. Now, with Yu-Gi-Oh, another thing I hear is, well, Yu-Gi-Oh is a little bit easier to build. Here's why. Because Yu-Gi-Oh, there's no brain concept to this. There's no swear to God, you could probably have a chimpanzee that knows how to teach him how to play Magic, and he can get it. Same thing with Yu-Gi-Oh. But what's going to happen is you're going to watch, and when you build your Yu-Gi-Oh deck, your Yu-Gi-Oh deck can be pretty much consistent of just randomness, right? No specific order. So when you're basically playing with Yu-Gi-Oh, you can build a shitty deck and then have the greatest card ever, and maybe be able to pull 1 or 2 wins, or maybe 4 or 3, 5 moments of your ass because you just pull it out of your ass for that win. Well, that's called an out of your ass win. Yu-Gi-Oh has most of those, pull it random wins. With Yu-Gi-Oh, you can build your deck, and it doesn't have to be specific. It doesn't have to be color-coded. It doesn't have where it doesn't have to be a lot of thought process into it. So with Magic, the reason why a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh players I hear, and I still do, and again, I'm a Magic and Yu-Gi-Oh player. I've done both, and I know that I can definitely tell you for sure that I have never ever thought I would ever diss Yu-Gi-Oh, and I now am dissing Yu-Gi-Oh in the worst way. The only reason why I'm dissing Yu-Gi-Oh now is because I figured out that when you're building your deck with Magic, you have more thought. You have to put more thought into this. Okay, here's my colors. So, for instance, red and green deck. So my red and green deck have to combine in order to work as one. That the cards I put in there have to be able to do the things I want it to do. Block, direct damage, cast spells, cast instant cards, be able to fly, be able to reach. With Yu-Gi-Oh, you don't have these kind of cards where you can use reach. With Magic, there's a thing called reach. So let's pretend, here's another thing that I hear. So let's pretend I'm playing Yu-Gi-Oh. I can do direct damage, right? That's called direct damage, or direct attack. So my direct attack would be basically whatever the amount of card, high point, HP, or ATK, attack points, that my card is. Are you, playing with a 300 or 3000 ATK card? Okay, so there. At 300 ATK, 3000 ATK card does direct damage. So there's not very many ways in Yu-Gi-Oh to go directly towards your opponent's life points. There are some cards out there, but there are not a lot of cards that will do that. That can give you more reach, more to give you the most ability to do the things that Magic has done. So in all, I think Yu-Gi-Oh has its good sides. I mean, I tell I've seen kids come into Magic store and they've asked me, Normio, I want to play, and I tell them, Magic's really hard. It's really hard to get into this because you got to do a lot more thinking. So basically, in Magic, you have the ability to pick out which card you want your opponent to attack with or attack. You don't get much of that choice. Your opponent does. So that's why it's so confusing. It's because your opponent has that ability to stop. So unlike Yu-Gi-Oh, you can only block attack maybe for this monster, and that's it. Then your other monster has to take damage. Well, same kind of thing. So there are similarities into Yu-Gi-Oh and Magic. Now with Magic, like I said, you get the ability to do a little bit more things than Yu-Gi-Oh. Yes. Yu-Gi-Oh does not have, the tapping system where every time you have to, tap your manas in order to play your card. So that's the one thing that, Yu-Gi-Oh kind of seems to have that's very good, is making it easier for the player to be able to use his cards. Now, like I said, I don't recommend Magic if you're very young, because Magic, you have a lot more to think about. Magic kind of requires you to, excuse me, allows you or requires you to think a lot more about, it makes you come up with a system, a plan. Yu-Gi-Oh, you can basically just have, go ass wild and just go bang, 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 and then just bang in the game. Magic, you kind of have a little bit more, okay, well, this guy's gonna knock this guy, so this guy's gonna get killed. So, okay, well, I gotta tap my mana and I'm going to play this SPO card to block it, or this instant card. So it's not like Yu-Gi-Oh! Where you just go bang, bang, fuck it. So yes, I mean Yu-Gi-Oh is a little bit easier. It's a lot more easier to work with because you don't have as much, you know, mindset. You don't have to think a lot about it. You can just do it. Another thing is supposedly Yu-Gi-Oh has a lot more magic. I mean, action. Excuse me, not magic. Um, Now what I say by action is okay. You can attack a lot more. You can do a lot more. You know, you're based off of able to do a lot. I'm sure. You know, I've heard a lot of these that Yu-Gi-Oh, you can get a lot more action. It's again fast paced, which is action set. This Magic can be action packed if your deck really sucks, or if you're on a roll and you're on a roll for maybe 3 seconds and then your opponent blocks you, then that just shuts you down. With Magic or with Yu-Gi-Oh, you can get on a roll and same thing, but you can probably pick up a little bit of the pace. So I do not have a problem with Magic. I don't have a problem with Yu-Gi-Oh. So I hear, Romeo again. What am I gonna go for? Well, I have again gone for Yu-Gi-Oh so much in my life. I've gone for Magic now. So it's however you choose. I prefer Magic a little bit more because I've begun to realize that Magic has a lot more to offer. It has a lot more offer for the gamers. The experience. You have a lot more experience. You gain experience with it, and it makes you require more. It requires you to do like math. You have to, instead of having 800, 8,000 or 800 attack life points, you have 20. So 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 0. So you don't have as much math as you do in Yu-Gi-Oh. But well, lose, gain, lose, draw cards, and do the same thing almost as Yu-Gi-Oh. So with Magic being, I think, for me, I choose Magic. I prefer Magic a little bit more because it's not. Magic, again, doesn't really kill off its cards. They don't kill a lot of their players. Konami has killed a lot of their players because they just they will create things that will make things happen, then they will kill the card, then it will kill the players because the players aren't going to be able, they have to readjust their deck or readjust what they have done with their strategy to just be able to work around it and then be able to then be legal. Then when that supposedly happens, then Konami will do it again. They'll throw that curve at you, that roadblock. Magic doesn't really throw much roadblocks at you. They let the players throw the roadblocks at themselves or at each other. And that's what I really like about Magic is they keep that consistency of no roadblocks, just roll. So Yu-Gi-Oh does have a lot more dead cards. And another, right? So in Yu-Gi-Oh, there's no such thing as a redo. So you can't redraw your hand. Put the hand back in the deck and then redraw. In Magic, you actually have that ability to what's called get a one-time mulligan per game. And that's what I really do like about Magic. So if you end up drawing a bunch of these in your hand, that's called a dead hand. So if you end up drawing the dead hand, You just throw them back in your deck or your library, and then you draw 6 cards or whatever again. Then you can start over again, which is really good. Yu-Gi-Oh does not allow you to do that, and that's one thing I kind of don't like about Yu-Gi-Oh is that they don't allow you to give that mulligan. But if you're playing just one-on-one and you're playing just for the heck of it, your friends might let you get away with a mulligan. But Yu-Gi-Oh, or excuse me, Magic, you are allowed to get away with a mulligan. No matter what. I don't even think, I think in Pro you can get away with a mulligan. So that's why I really kind of do like Magic a little bit more. You get away with a lot more. Your ability to do more is up the sky and back. You can go just sky's the limit with your cards and your deck and how you do things. It does have a drawback with Magic. It kind of gets because with Magic, you think a lot more. So, for instance, that one video that I just posted up of me being in the magic shop, that day I was in the magic shop for about almost 9 hours. 9 hours I was in that card shop, playing straight. I did take some breaks, but I played for 9 hours. I was in that card shop for 9 hours playing Magic. I got very tired when I came home. I was really dead beat tired. So in Yu-Gi-Oh, I've noticed when I play a lot more, I'm not as tired. But with Magic, I am. About how things are needing to be done. So that's why Yu-Gi-Oh has just basically you don't have to think a lot. In Magic, you think a lot more. So that basically is half of it. Now some people who are new to Magic, and I'm going to show you, don't know or probably don't realize Yu-Gi-Oh has God cards. Well, Magic actually does. This is one of the Magic God cards that I have. And to be honest with you, you see that Yu-Gi-Oh and Magic have the same concept almost. You can have God cards. You can have a lot of things in there close to Yu-Gi-Oh. But in Yu-Gi-Oh, not all the time is God cards going to be a very good thing for you or your deck. And that's a choose. So in Yu-Gi-Oh, compared to Yu-Gi-Oh and Magic, which one is powerful? Well, honestly, and how does it work? Well, in Yu-Gi-Oh again, you have to tribute for your God card. In Magic, you just have to tap your manas, which this one requires a forest and mountain mana plus 3 extras to put him on the field. Or maybe a kicker. So that's pretty much, so basically 5 cards, right? Or 5 manas. Instead of getting rid of 5 cards on the field, I just tap 5 manas, 5 land cards to summon this God card. And this God card is basically summoned. No cards are sent to the grave. Unless there is a God card, this God card says tribute. But most cards like these, I don't think Magic card will have you tribute a lot to summon the God cards. So that's really what's a lot nicer about Magic, is that with Magic you don't have to get rid of your cards and put them in the grave. You can just tap 5 of your manas and then put your God card and put your guide card out. And then your guide card's good to go. And then just wait one turn. And that's the cards. And using the Magic and Yu-Gi-Oh guide cards. Again, with Magic, you have what's called summon instincts. Yu-Gi-Oh, you don't. You can just basically summon and attack. Now, this one has haste, or it can gain haste, which means I can just summon, or I can just tap and attack. Now, because of this reason, some guard cards will require you to wait one turn to be able to use it. Some cards, again, have that, where they don't let you. Now, again, with this one, you don't have to tap any manas. This one, you do. This one, you end up having to put cards in the grave. This one, you kind of don't have to. You basically don't have to. So, that's why I kind of like Magic killed or require you to get rid of them or whatever. Yu-Gi-Oh! Kind of have to do more, get rid of that card more. Magic, you don't do it. Now, here's what I think about, what would I prefer if I had a kid? What would I prefer my child to play? Well, I would prefer my child to actually play something simple. Now, here's the thing. Pokemon. For instance, Pokemon I've heard things, I've heard one post Magic. I'm thinking myself, probably, I don't know. I'm going to look into that. I haven't looked into it yet, but I'm going to. So, what would I rather have my child do? This, or Pokemon? Well, I'd rather have my child probably do Yu-Gi-Oh! I know it's really contrary and contradicting to what I just said, but because Yu-Gi-Oh! You have less to worry about on memorizing. You have to remember to tap in Magic. In Yu-Gi-Oh! You don't have to think about tapping. You don't have to think about doing the tap system. You can just tribute, summon, and attack. But with, again, tap, summon, wait one. That's why. It gets really hard. Because, kids are going to want the action. And that's the thing about Yu-Gi-Oh! Is that this is basically based off of action-packed. You are able to play and then get into it. There's not a lot of times where you have to wait to respond to your opponent's attack. You can just randomly do it if you got the right card. But with this, you have a lot of things to do. So for a kid to try to play Magic would be very difficult. That child would probably become very agitated within less than a second, maybe, if that child didn't know how to play. And it would be very hard for that. You're basically having to explain more things than in Yu-Gi-Oh! Because in Yu-Gi-Oh! There's not a lot to it, but with Magic there's a lot more to it. And so that child is probably going to be thinking, okay, this is way too confusing to play Magic, so Yu-Gi-Oh! is the answer. Because Yu-Gi-Oh! Has that ability to stop players from being so freaking blatantly confused, I found out that, I give it to Yu-Gi-Oh! And Konami for actually creating a game that, you don't have to do all these tapping stuff to play. It makes it a lot funner for children to play. And it made it a lot funner for me. But again, Konami kind of screwed themselves when they did what they did and are doing what they still do. But that's them, not me. So how would you want to teach a child to play Magic? Well, I would wait until the child gets a little bit older. Again, because Magic, again, you're going to have a lot more confusion. Yu-Gi-Oh, you're not going to have as much confusion. It might be a little difficult at first to understand, but then later the child will grab the concept of, okay, this is how it works. Because in Magic, it's going to take a little bit longer for that child to understand that this concept is basically something that's very important to the game and to how to play as well. And so this child is going to be thinking, no, I can't do this because, you know, I can't, you can't just summon. So the child probably will want, the kid will probably want something that he can just automatically throw out, bang, and just wait. Now, there's another thing that, kids kind of lean towards is Yu-Gi-Oh! Because, Yu-Gi-Oh! Had a cartoon show, an anime show. MTG, I've never seen a TV show with Magic. And I don't even think that you're going to do it. But that'd be cool if Magic did pick that up. So, because Yu-Gi-Oh! Has a lot more characters on the cards, like this one, Slifer, they kind of can see that, oh, these cards are something that, is cool. Because Magic basically is a card game that's probably never had its own show. And so, what am I supposed to, how is this cool when there's no monsters that basically, there's no TV show that's shown that these monsters or whatever come out from the card and just attack. So that's why a lot of kids lean towards Yu-Gi-Oh! Because it's had its show. Yu-Gi-Oh! Has a lot of cheaters, and so do Magic. But in the TV show, Yu-Gi-Oh! Showed a lot more. The Yu-Gi-Oh! TV show, it showed, a lot of cheating. It never stayed consistent of the game. And even through the new Series GX, it never really did anything. It never got better. Konami really never picked it up. So Konami basically kind of, again, screwed themselves by, showing that, oh, it's okay to cheat. And then, kids get started, then they try cheating, and it's just, hey, wait a minute, you can't do that. Well, I've seen on Yu-Gi-Oh! So, wham, bam, thugger, thuggy. That's how, some kids will get started. And you have to remind them that this is not how you play. You play with tributing, with working and doing these things. So, bam, that's how you play. So, basically, Yu-Gi-Oh!, like I said, it had its own TV show where it showed kids the cool things. Magic really didn't have a TV show, I don't think, that made it really cool or showed kids the coolness of it, or made it kind of seem really super cool, and they didn't really make the card game pop. Yu-Gi-Oh! By having its own TV show made the game pop. But then when Konami again screwed themselves, it just went. So in all honesty, you guys, this is my basic opinion. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I will come back in a little bit and make another video for you guys. Hope you guys enjoy. Peace. Bye.